Hello world. I'm gonna just get right into it, and I'm gonna talk extemporaneously about today and yesterday's events. Okay, today is the first day of the Biden-Harris administration's reign, over the free world. Right? It's the Biden administration, essentially. It's the first day of the Biden administration, and I'm inspired to make this video because I just watched a video on Instagram. Um, in it, Dr. Cornel West talked about how the Biden-Harris administration um, is just going to be a repeat of the Obama administration. And in that, he means to say that, the Obama administration um, wasn't as revolutionary, wasn't as beneficial to the Black constituents in America. As it, he said that the Obama administration was not as revolutionary for the uh, Black constituents as we expected, as we thought his presidency would be. We thought, oh, we have a Black president now, things are going to change, things are going to work in our favor. And then Obama's administration, lasted 2 terms, and he rode off into the sunset, and very little basically changed. Of course, I'm paraphrasing here, but Dr. Cornel West's words and his message were pretty much in that vein. All right. And, you know, what he cautioned, the viewers when he was speaking in this video, what he cautioned to us, his viewers, he said we have to be just as critical of the Biden-Harris administration as he was of the Obama administration. And his words, are so, for me, well received, because during the Obama administration, I would often listen to Dr. Cornel West, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, and even Tavis Smiley to get their take on Obama. And although they were extremely critical of Obama, and although I wished that they weren't so critical, because I felt that they weren't showing as much support for this Black man in the highest position, um, you know, in on the planet, in the free world. Um, I I now see that there was great value in what they were doing. I see that they were right. That Dr. Cornel West, especially, was right on many points. That especially his point, especially about us not going back to sleep. Okay, you know, we can be woke, but we can take our naps. Well, this is not the time for us to take our naps. We need to be woke. We need to be vigilant. We need to pay attention to what is happening, what things are changing. So I, for one, would like to do just that. And I'm doing just that by making this video and speaking, about this topic, because this is a very important topic. And I'm glad that I saw that video, and um, I'm glad that Dr. Cornel West took that stance to be critical, because now I want to be critical and and I want to, watch the Biden-Harris, uh, administration, to see what changes are made, because it's not going to be, everything isn't going to be rosy. Now, what I will say is, we certainly have seen a change of, presentation, the way that the office of the presidency is being projected right now with Biden, and with Biden's speech today. As I listened to it, as I drove around the city, I listened to it, and he said, that he was going to address the COVID-19 pandemic, as if it were a war. It was, his response would be warlike because we have to fight it, head on. And this is something that, President Trump did not do. And so that's one major difference. And that was a very, glaring, um, you know, contrast to the to the Trump administration. But you know what? Trump is out of here, and it's now the Biden and Harris show. All right. Yesterday was January 20th, 2021. As I'm speaking, I'm looking here on my board, on the wall here. I'm looking at my talking points, right? And that day, let's talk about numerology just for a second. That day was 1/20/2021. And, like a palindrome, like one of those words where you can read it in one direction and then, reverse it and it reads the same. Those numbers are palindromatic, I guess you would say, because you write 1202021, you reverse those letters and you get the same, the same order. That's interesting. And that was a very special day. All right. So what those numbers mean, what those numbers add up to, all that numerological talk, I'm not going to get deep into that, but let's just, stick a pin in that, or let's just note that, and then we'll stick a pin in it and we'll just let that sit there. So I watched the inauguration. I was lucky enough to. I was a little busy during the day, but then I did find myself watching it, and I had the pleasure of watching it with my sister, who is a member of AKA, and she was in full, support of her her fellow soror, Vice President Kamala Harris, who is a member of AKA as well. My sister was wearing her pearls and her pink and green. And it was interesting because, definitely I'm going to say this, but of course, this is what we experienced yesterday. It was Black Girl Magic. This is not an original idea or original thought. This is an echo of what we experienced. Black Girl Magic. We saw, Kamala Harris, rise to, become, or to be sworn in, by Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor, like another woman and a woman of color, right? Like that was quite a impressionable or impressive display. Amanda Gorman, all right, poet, her performance was another example of, Black Girl Magic. Like, whew, man, that sister is tough. She is a consummate professional when it comes to her poetry. She demonstrated, her professionalism with her poem yesterday. Poetry, excuse me, if you will. I wrote a poem. This is my poem right here. 109. This is my book. Pick it up. All right. The link will be somewhere in this video. You can pick up a copy of my poem. I'm nowhere near being the poet that Amanda Gorman is. Excuse me as I put this book back. Okay. But hey, we all have to start somewhere, right? Yeah, Amanda Gorman. Salute to Amanda Gorman. She showed us Black Girl Magic and, excellence, Black excellence. Shout out to the staff at Simply Wholesome on Overhill and Slauson for repping Black excellence. All right, we saw a reflection of Black excellence through Amanda Gorman's display through her poem. Fabulous, exemplary displays, right? One thing, let's go back and talk about Dr. Cornel West and what he said. Dr. Cornel West said that the Biden-Harris administration is going to be a repeat of the Obama administration. And he said that Obama did not change the conditions of the Black community. And so the Biden-Harris administration will not do the same. And we must protect ourselves against this, and we must be critical of the Biden-Harris administration so as to, you know, force them to, you know, make changes. We've got to be extremely critical. We can't just let them do what they do, and we can't just let it be business as usual. Okay. Now, that point about the point that Dr. Cornel West says about, you know, the Biden-Harris administration being like the Obama Biden, you know, administration, you know, reminds me of the cycle. Okay, it's a repeat. You know, this is what, you know, he was telling us about, and that repeat is like a circle, you know, a cycle. And when I think of the circle and when I think of the cycle, I think of, you know, zero. O. The brothers, the 5%ers, call the O the cipher, right? And so that's what Dr. Cornel West was calling our attention to. I just wanted to throw that out. Just, you know, think about that. The cycle, the cipher, okay, and the repeat, the repeat of the Obama administration through the Biden-Harris administration. You know, I mean, after all, you know, on this planet we are, you know, rotating. I'll do it this way here, but we are, you know, revolving, you know, around the sun. So every year, you know, is a revolution, one trip around the sun, and that is another circle. Maybe not a perfect circle, but that is another full cycle, a cipher. All right, enough of that stuff. Let's keep going. I thought it was interesting that, you know, on that day that I mentioned, I was with my sister. I was watching this monumental event, you know, taking place. And we were sitting in Los Angeles. We were sitting, you know, in her home. And there was an earthquake. Now talk about that. You know, we were watching the shift from one administration to the next, and what do they say? It was like the earth was moving right under our feet because of the magnitude of the historic event. And then sure enough, really physically, the ground moved beneath our feet. Like what a metaphor. What a coincidence that occurred at that moment, as if to say, as if to echo the idea that yes, you know, Earth is, you know, shifting. The ground beneath our feet is moving, and it literally was. Wow, what a coincidence. So there was the earthquake, there was the, you know, the change of guard, so to speak, in administrations. And yeah, right here in Los Angeles, a building burned down, a building with a beautiful mural painted by a young artist who can be found on Instagram at his Stay Relevant, I believe is his tagline or his user, you know, his ID on Instagram. And yeah, the building burned down and we lost that mural that he painted. And, you know, that was a scary event because my sister and my brother-in-law said that they woke up and they thought that their home was on fire because of the smell of smoke. You know, that whole community was devastated by that fire. It was not a small fire. It was not a small building. It was a large building, a large complex that, burned up. That's some of the local news, right? Well, and all of that happened yesterday, all in the same day. Wow. hmm Finally, I want to talk about Bitcoin because as I'm filming this right now, Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin has taken a dive. We we saw Bitcoin rise to somewhere over 40,000, maybe $41,000 per Bitcoin, and at present, right now, or last time I checked, last time I checked, it was about $29,400. I don't know where it is right now. Don't panic. That's all I can say. Don't panic and don't sell your Bitcoins. Hold on to them. And if you don't have Bitcoin, go ahead and buy them. Buy Bitcoin. It's not too late. It's not too late. I remember in 2016, one of my colleagues said, "Oh, Bitcoin's too expensive now. It's not, it's too late. The opportunity to get in is too late." Do you know what, 4 years later, that was 2016, in 2020, Bitcoin outdid itself? And if anyone had believed what my colleague had said, they would have just, uh, they would have, you know, limited themselves, and they would have missed that opportunity altogether. Don't miss the opportunity. Bitcoin is revving up. You know, there's a video on YouTube. Nipsey was in Sweden and he talked about cryptocurrencies. And that's a wonderful video actually to watch because Nipsey talks about, how much or how little Bitcoin has penetrated the market. You know, the world's market has only been penetrated, 5% or less than 5%, if I'm not mistaken. This is what Nipsey said. And so wait until can you imagine the value that Bitcoin will have when there is full penetration, when it's 100% accepted around the globe? When you, as Nipsey said, when you can go into Ralph's and you can use a Bitcoin, we're not there yet. And the value of Bitcoin has already risen to $40,000. Can you imagine what it will be worth when we can walk into a Ralph's and use a Bitcoin to buy our groceries? The point is, don't wait until you see Bitcoin accepted at the local Ralphs to buy into Bitcoin. Buy in today. It's not too late. That's what I want to say. Um, yeah. Yesterday was a monumental day. We're going to have to personally, I'm speaking to myself. If no one even watches this, these are the things that are on my mind, and these are the things that, I'm going to try to remember. Now, I might just forget this and fall asleep and then go back into, take that nap. You know, I am woke, but I do take naps. Shout out to Urban X podcast, making those fly tees and hats. Um, but yeah, these are the things that are on my mind. So I had to speak about them. And you know, we're beginning a wild ride, one that we have to definitely buckle up for and do just what Dr. Cornel West said, and that is, be critical. Don't just don't just accept, a bowl of I don't know what is something a bowl of or excuse me, not a bowl. I'm thinking, you know what? I said a bowl because I was thinking of grits. I love grits, but I was thinking of something else that maybe would be relatable, but we can still go with grits. Like, I like my grits, and I don't eat grits with a lot of butter, you know? So in my case, I wouldn't accept, you know, um, my grits with a lot of butter. I understand you could put, some butter in your grits, um, but I just wouldn't put a lot. Heck, I no, I take that back. I don't even eat um, grits with butter. I just go grits, just plain grits. I add my hot sauce. Okay. So what I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is, if the if the Biden Harris administration is a bowl of grits, don't just accept it. In my case, don't just accept it with a whole lot of butter in there. Demand that that butter be removed, or that only a little bit of butter, be added. You know, be critical. Don't just accept what they give you. Be critical. And yeah, because it's more important than ever. This is our health. This is the health of our community that we have to look after. Yeah. All right. Those are my thoughts. And we'll see how things go tomorrow. Let's see what developments, um, uh, you know, come up tomorrow. All right. This is Larry speaking from his corner. How do you like my corner? Check it out. Got my books behind me. Got my mug. Shout out to Baratunde Thurston. I have my cup of, not a cup. This is actually a Japanese, excuse me, a Japanese coffee made by the company Suntory, and it's called Black Boss. Check that out. Isn't that something? I bought this at the Japanese, where is that? At the Japanese market. All right, there we go. Black. Brother Malcolm X is up here. You can barely see their faces. I might have to, arrange some things back here. There's Snoop Dogg down here. Oh, on the look how I set up my bookcase here. On the lower level here, we've got the alcohol, and as you go up, all right, you find the excuse me. I'm noticing. I'm trying to follow where you are, and I'm looking over here, looking at the reflection. So I need to look at you. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave you. All right, peace. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and don't forget, be critical of this administration. Don't just let them, pass a bowl of grits with a whole lot of butter on it. Ask them to take that butter out. That's dairy, right? That's dairy. You don't want to eat too much dairy. All right. All right, peace.